I never thought I would be the one writing something like this. I've been lurking on Reddit for years, especially in the late night hours when my brain wouldn't let me sleep, scrolling through stories of betrayal, heartbreak, or strange life twists. It always felt distant, like something that happened to other people. I had my issues, sure, but nothing that would ever land me in the same territory as the posts I read with a mix of pity and morbid curiosity. And yet, here I am, typing with shaking hands, staring at the glow of the screen, trying to find the words to process the wreckage that has become my life. I'll start with myself. I'm 37, and for most of my adult life I believed I had built something stable, reliable, even enviable. I'm not some Hollywood figure or a genius millionaire. I'm a manic guy who works from home, earns decent money, and has always tried to be steady, grounded, and supportive. I'm not perfect. I struggle with confidence sometimes, I overthink, and I have this tendency to bury my emotions instead of addressing them. But I genuinely thought I was a good husband. I was proud of the little home my wife and I had made together. Her name, well, let's just call her Anna. She's 2 years younger than me, and we met at a mutual friend's party back in our 20s. I still remember the way she laughed that night, like the entire room bent toward her without her even noticing. She had this mixture of warmth and sharpness. She could be sarcastic, almost cutting, but it was always softened by her smile. I fell hard, harder than I ever thought I could. And over the years, she became my anchor. When I thought about my future, every version of it had her there. We married after 4 years together. It was nothing extravagant, just a small ceremony with close family and friends. She wore this simple dress that, to me, outshone anything I'd ever seen. I used to tell people I'd never been so sure of a decision in my life, and for a long time, it felt true. We settled into what felt like a rhythm. Careers, shared dinners, occasional vacations, movie nights on the couch, and lazy Sundays. I'm not naive. I know marriages can dull with time, that passion needs maintenance, that people change. I always tried to remind myself not to take her for granted. When she had hard weeks, I'd cook her favorite meals. When she wanted space, I gave it. When she dreamed about trips we couldn't quite afford, I'd start stashing money away to surprise her. That's the kind of husband I thought I was, the kind of man who would always, at the very least, show up. But nothing I did prepared me for the gut punch of realizing she was showing up for someone else. The signs, in retrospect, were there, but they were like whispers in a noisy room. A little more phone time than usual, a subtle pulling away when I tried to hug her from behind in the kitchen, vague excuses about late work nights. She had always been independent, and I told myself I was just being paranoid. Everyone warns you about jealousy being toxic, about suffocating your partner, so I bit my tongue whenever doubt crept in. It was a Tuesday when the truth began to unravel. I'd finished work early and thought I'd surprise her by cooking dinner. She wasn't home yet, and as I started chopping vegetables, her laptop, which she had left on the counter, pinged with a message. I shouldn't have looked. I know that, but the preview was impossible to ignore. Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. I remember freezing, knife in hand, staring at that line until the letters blurred. My first instinct was denial. Maybe it was a joke, maybe it was a friend being weird, maybe I misread it. My chest tightened so hard I thought I might pass out. My hands shook as I opened the laptop, and there it was, an entire thread of messages with a man I'd never heard of, full of words that shattered the foundation of everything I thought I knew. I can't even describe the feeling properly. It wasn't just anger or sadness, it was this hollowing, like the floor beneath me had dissolved and I was falling endlessly. I wanted to scream, to smash the laptop against the wall, to tear the words off the screen and burn them. Instead, I just sat there, staring, numb, until I heard her key in the door. She walked in like nothing had happened, like she wasn't carrying a bomb she'd already detonated inside me. I confronted her right there, before she even set her bag down. I wish I could say I was calm, but my voice was shaking, breaking. I told her I saw the messages. She froze, eyes wide, and then I saw the truth flicker across her face before she even spoke. She didn't deny it. She didn't even try. "I'm sorry," she said. Just that, like those 2 words could hold back the tidal wave crashing between us. The argument that followed blurred into something I can barely piece together. She cried, I yelled, then I cried, she yelled back. She admitted it had been going on for months, that it just happened, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that she still loved me but was confused. Confused. That word stuck in my head like a thorn. How do you confuse tearing someone's heart out with love? I kept asking why, like some broken record. Why wasn't I enough? Why didn't she tell me she was unhappy? Why did she choose betrayal over honesty? Her answers shifted with every question, never solid, never enough. At some point, I just stopped asking because I realized there wasn't an answer that would make it hurt less. That night, I slept on the couch. Or tried to. Mostly, I stared at the ceiling, feeling like my entire life had been rewritten without my consent. I kept remembering moments, anniversaries, vacations, lazy mornings, and wondering if those were real or if they'd already been tainted by lies I didn't know about. The days since have been a blur. I swing between rage so hot it burns and sorrow so heavy I can barely get out of bed. I catch myself replaying the discovery in my head over and over, like maybe if I go back far enough I'll find a version of events where it didn't happen. But it did, and now I'm left with the shards of what I thought was my life. People talk about betrayal like it's a single moment, like catching someone in the act. But it's not just that. It's the aftermath, the slow decay of trust, the way your brain starts questioning every memory, every word, every touch. It's the silence in the house that used to feel warm but now feels like a graveyard. It's realizing the person you loved most became a stranger when you weren't looking. I don't know what happens next. Part of me wants to believe we can fix it, that maybe the years we shared mean something worth salvaging. Another part of me knows that trust, once broken like this, doesn't come back. I can't unknow what I know. I can't unsee those words on the screen, can't unhear the crack in her voice when she admitted it. I keep thinking about how people on here describe moving on, how they talk about healing and starting fresh. I want to believe that's possible for me, too. Right now, though, it just feels like I'm wandering through the ruins of something I used to call home, and every step cuts me open a little more. Maybe writing this is the first step. Maybe putting it into words will stop it from eating me alive in silence. I don't know. What I do know is this: betrayal isn't just a wound, it's an earthquake. It reshapes everything. And standing here in the aftermath, I'm not sure who I am without her, without us. But I guess I'm going to have to find out. The first week after I found out felt like I was living in some alternate reality, like the world had shifted just a few inches to the left and nothing lined up anymore. I went through the motions of my daily routine, but it was like wearing someone else's skin. I logged into work calls, answered emails, fixed code, but behind every interaction there was this buzzing void in my head. The voice that kept asking, "What the hell happened to your life?" She still lived in the house during those first days, which made everything worse. We barely spoke. When we did, it was clipped, tense, and suffocating. I'd hear her moving around in the bedroom while I sat on the couch, pretending to be absorbed in my laptop. Sometimes I caught myself listening for her footsteps, like muscle memory hadn't caught up with reality yet, and every sound, every movement, just reminded me she wasn't mine in the same way anymore. She said she wanted to work through it, that she still loved me, that what she did was a mistake, but every time she said mistake, I wanted to scream. A mistake is leaving your coffee on the roof of your car. A mistake is forgetting someone's birthday. Sneaking around for months, lying to my face every single day. That's not a mistake, that's a choice. I couldn't eat properly. Sleep was worse. I'd lie down exhausted, close my eyes, and immediately my brain would start replaying everything I read on her laptop. Phrases I couldn't forget, words I never thought she'd use for someone else. Sometimes my mind went further, painting images I didn't want but couldn't stop. Her laughing with him, touching him, whispering the same thing she whispered to me. It bolt upright at 3 a.m., drenched in sweat, heart pounding, staring at the dark ceiling like it was pressing down on me. About a week in, I broke down in the shower. I don't even know what triggered it. Maybe the simple act of standing in a place where I used to feel safe, warm, clean. Suddenly I couldn't breathe. I slid down against the tiles, water hitting my head, and I sobbed like I hadn't since I was a kid. My body shook so hard I thought I might pass out. I remember thinking, this is it. This is how people lose themselves. I told one friend. Just one. He's known me since college, and when I called him, I could barely get the words out. He drove over immediately, sat with me on the couch while I stumbled through the story, and when I finished, he just said, "Man, I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this." That simple sentence almost broke me again, because I realized I had been secretly asking myself if I did deserve it. If maybe it'd been too boring, too predictable, too safe. Maybe she was searching for something I couldn't give. Hearing someone else say it wasn't about me felt like a rope tossed into the quicksand. But the rope only reaches so far. At night, when I was alone again, the doubts crept back in. Every memory of our marriage became infected with suspicion. When she laughed at her phone months ago, was that him? When she said she was working late, was she lying straight to my face? Did she kiss me goodnight and then message him afterward? It's like your brain starts rewriting your entire past in real time, and you can't stop it. We tried talking more after that. Or rather, she tried, and I sat there like a statue. She cried, begged, told me she'd end things with him, that she wanted to rebuild. She swore she'd do therapy, couples counseling, whatever it took. And I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. Because believing her meant maybe I wouldn't have to throw away the life we built, the years we shared. But every time I looked at her, all I could see was betrayal. Her face wasn't hers anymore. It was a mask I couldn't trust. One night, after another half fight, half breakdown, she asked me if I could ever forgive her. And for the first time, I said the thing that had been circling in my chest since the day I found out. I don't think he'll ever look at you the same way again. Her face crumpled like paper, and she sobbed harder than I'd ever seen. But the terrifying part was, even seeing her like that, broken, didn't stir the same instinct to comfort her. Something had already died in me. It's been months now, and I wish I could say I've figured things out, that I found clarity. The truth is, I'm stuck between two impossible roads. On one side, staying, trying to rebuild, risking that I'll never really trust her again and spend the rest of my life second-guessing. On the other side, leaving, tearing my world apart, starting from scratch at nearly 40, with the ghost of our marriage haunting me forever. People say healing isn't linear. They're right. Some days I feel strong, like I'm finally moving forward, like I could picture a life without her and maybe even be okay. Other days, I catch a smell, a song, a stupid little routine memory, and I collapse into grief all over again. It's like mourning someone who's still alive, someone who still sits across from you at the table but isn't the same person you married. I don't know if writing all this down is progress or just another way to torture myself, but at least it's real. At least here, I don't have to pretend everything's fine. Because the truth is, it's not fine. It might never be fine again. And learning to live with that, that's the hardest part.